Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And this is a shout out to Jaco. And he sent me an email titled Alice in Wonderland. And you know what, Jaco? I totally agree with you. You know, this is Treasury's plan on rescuing the economy in South Africa, if I can put it that way. And Jaco says, I don't know what they've been smoking. I know weed is legal now. But they think they will make the economy grow by transforming it. We know how well that worked for South African Airways and Eskom. Well, let's have a look at what Treasury are looking at doing. And I'll just pass comments as we go down the list. This is how they're going to save the South African economy. They're talking about creating millions of jobs, economic transformation, inclusive of growth and competitiveness towards an economic strategy for South Africa. And they're looking at some big reforms. Okay, on Tuesday night, the National Treasury unexpectedly published a major discussion document on South Africa's economic future, outlining a range of things the government can do to boost GDP and help create millions of jobs. The 75-page document, Economic Transformation, Inclusive Growth and Competitiveness Towards an Economic Strategy for South Africa, is open for public comment until mid-September. Well, this is my comment on the whole thing. It's a load of crap, to be quite honest, but anyway. Although it deals in broad strokes with high-level policy, the document zooms in on particular sectors and industries in calculating what the impact of various proposals would be. So, how does it work? Here is how different sectors of the economy will benefit from proposed reforms and interventions, according to the National Treasury's new discussion document on economic policy. Foreign tourism rising from 8% to 10%, and then settling down to 5.5%. Providing accommodation, catering and transport in the export tourism market should see a quick bump of about 10% above what it would be without intervention, the document suggests, although that should settle down to 5.5% eventually. They go on to say domestic demand for tourism is expected to be positively affected, it says, but by only about 4% more than without any intervention at first, and 1.5% in the longer run. So the proposals include giving money to promotion agencies such as South African Tourism and protecting such budgets from a depreciating rand. Help tourism operators navigate all the regulations they have to comply with, possibly by a way of a one-stop shop system. Creating a better balance between security concerns and the growth of the tourism sector in South Africa's approach to visas. Better policing of tourism hotspots. Now, I want to respond to that because these guys live in cloud cuckoo land. What tourist is going to come to South Africa when you've got all the crap that's going on in the country? Look what happened in Pretoria yesterday. I mean, who in their right mind would travel with their family into Pretoria and go looking at the Union buildings like I did 7 years ago? You might be a bit safer going to the Voortrekker Monument, but that's if you don't get carjacked on the way there. You know, South Africa is a very unsafe place for tourists. And every travel advisory around the world says have extreme caution if you're going to South Africa. It's a one before, do not pass, do not go, do not collect 2,000 rand, do not enter the country. It's a one level on the travel advisory before you hit that one. So South Africa is not a safe place to go. And yet Treasury is saying that tourism is going to explode. Well, you ask any tourist operator, and I'll tell you right now that they are really, really battling. In fact, I got an email today from someone who lives in Hermanus, and they said there's not one tourist there. Remember that little video I played from that CNN political commentator who said, here I am at Hermanus and it is so beautiful. Remember that video? Well, she's off her tree as well. But tourism industry, gone, dead, finished, completely. I mean, there's nowhere safe in South Africa anymore, from the Kruger National Park to the Drakensberg to Cape Town itself. I mean, the N2 is one of the most dangerous roads in the country, or in the world, and that comes directly from the airport to the city of Cape Town. It's the main access road. And you know what they're doing? This is how they're absolutely genius. Absolutely genius. They're spending billions of rands, taxpayers' rands, upgrading the airport at Cape Town, when the tourism industry is taking a huge nosedive. How do these guys, the L factor is just missing in action. Let's have a look at the next thing Treasury say. Agriculture, 6 billion rand extra in exports. Let's hear what they say. The proposed policy interventions hope to both increase productivity in South African agriculture and to gradually increase the demand for what South Africa grows in foreign markets. In changes are made on water and trade policy in particular, the National Treasury says that would add 6 billion rand in agricultural exports that would otherwise not happen by the end of its 10-year simulation period. Some of the proposals include better credit products for farmers and more affordable insurance against catastrophes, help small farmers move towards higher crop values, manage water better so irrigation areas can be expanded. Well, there are a whole lot of things one can talk about there. And top of the tree, expropriation of land without compensation. Your really experienced farmers, they're getting off the land. And the drought has not helped them. And you know what else hasn't helped them? The banks. They have done absolutely nothing to help these farmers who are suffering for years and years of drought. And despite the government actually saying that these are recognized disaster zones, they have not provided 1 rand to these white farmers who know what they're doing. And a lot of them are now being kicked off their farms by the banks. So what you've actually got is a decreasing size of agriculture. And there are so many other aspects here. Think of what's happening with the rivers, the sewage that's pouring into the rivers. What happened to the old clean water pre-1994? It's gone. You can't use most of the rivers now in South Africa to irrigate with it. The water is just too disgusting. And here they are suggesting that they're going to make sure that the water issues are resolved. What a load of hocus pocus. I don't know who makes this crap up, but, it's crazy. Now, next one. Transport. 17% cheaper is their aim. I don't know how that's going to work, seeing that they keep on pushing the price of fuel up. And as the rand gets weaker and weaker and weaker, which it is, that price of fuel is going to go higher and higher and higher. So how are they going to make transport 17% cheaper? Well, let's hear. As part of its modelling, the National Treasury assumes that the price of freight transport in South Africa can be reduced by 17% over the course of a decade, while faster transit also makes sectors such as manufacturing and wholesale at least slightly more efficient. Meanwhile, making taxis and trains more efficient should add 0.6 percentage points extra to the informal economy, the discussion document says, simply by making the flow of unskilled labour faster and easier. And how are they going to achieve this? Give third parties access to railway tracks, introducing competition between port terminal operators, devolving public transport by rail and bus to metros. I don't know who makes this shit up, that they haven't got a brain in their head. The whole issue here with transport is just one big problem, because the price of fuel dictates what people are going to be paying by way of fares. It's simple maths, simple logic. And the price of fuel, any South African will tell you, is going up so blimmin' fast. So how are they going to make transport cheaper? And then you've got these roads which aren't being maintained. And then you've got the trucks. Let's talk about the truckies that they talk about here. They're being blockaded. They're having their trucks looted. They're having their trucks burnt. There's a whole huge issue when it comes to crime on isolated roads and the trucking industry. Truckies are actually being killed as well. This is a hugely important issue. And yet the Treasury is suggesting that the trucking industry is just going to go flying like a boat.
Life insurance companies like Certificate, South Africans deserve big things. We deserve the longest road network in Africa. From Limpopo to the northwest, in Mpumalanga to the Eastern Cape, and anywhere in between. We deserve roads and bridges that connect us to other ones. At Sunrail, we work to guarantee our country world-class infrastructure and a high level of mobility for people and good products. Because South Africa... I'm not going to put a handbrake. Don't go out. Don't go out. Hold that side, hold that side, hold that side, hold that side. Hold that side, hold that side. Come this side.
Most regular term across our province today, 25. Information related to funding for his aid presidential campaign. Cyril Ramaphosa has defended the funding as above board, faced the large questions in Parliament yesterday on the CRC campaign. Relations to his with a corruption-accused company to South Africa, now known as African
Come and drive. Come and drive, man. You wanna fucking drive. Drive comfortable. Hey, drive, man. Yeah, wait. Run. Come back and go to the left.
Shareholders informing them of the decision after some of the received the company had handled the issue in a sloppy manner. Time reports. The PIC, Alan Gray,
Right, left, go. Drive, man. He's done.
What a load of crap. Okay, next one. Insurance. 7% cheaper, according to Treasury. Good luck with that. As crime rises, insurance companies are going to be charging a lot more, aren't they? It's a simple computation. After 10 years, the Treasury says, efforts to reduce red tape for providers, lowering the barriers to new entrants and making it cheaper to switch between companies could reduce the cost of insurance and financial intermediation by about 7%. Well, as I said, rising crime does not equal lowering insurance rates, that's for sure. So, knock that one right off. Telecommunications, 25% cheaper soon and another 25% cheaper eventually. And let's see what they say. The policy document recommends a range of changes in telecommunications, from strengthening regulator CASA to making radio frequency spectrum available to cell phone operators. Between these, Treasury says the cost of telecommunications could be reduced by a quarter within 3 years. In the 6 years after that, it believes that there could be a further gradual decline in prices that reach 25%. If that happens, consumers will, within a decade, be paying 56 Rand 25 for every 100 Rand currently spent on airtime. Well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, Treasury, but what about all these batteries that have been stolen from the cell towers? You know, MTN, something like 60 cell towers it's abandoning because they keep on stealing the batteries and other bits and pieces from there. Your crime level is just destroying every thought that you have about recovering the economy. And right at the base of your problem, the foundation of your problem, is the South African Police Service, which is seen as the most corrupt organization in South Africa today. So, it's Treasury are rather like putting the cart before the horse. They're claiming they're going to achieve all these wonderful things when there's absolutely no way they can. And what you need to do in South Africa is you need to get rid of the ANC government. You need to put in people there who know what the heck they're doing. You need to totally turn over the South African Police Service. You need to have people who are trained there, who know what they're doing. But none of this is going to happen. And if you don't do those things, none of the stuff that Treasury is talking about is going to happen either. It's so simple. It's simples! Simples! All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like the video and have a safe day.